the difference between a spiritual gift and a natural ability?
属灵的恩赐跟天生的富有的那个才能有什么不一样？
And so let's just use the word gift.
我们就用这个恩赐礼物，
It's a spiritual gift
属灵的恩赐，
or it's a natural gift.
或者是一个天然的恩赐的才干。
Let's not use the word ability for just one moment.
我们先不用那个才能这个字。
Now, you could be naturally gifted, you could be born and not be a Christian and still have a natural gift given by God.
你可以是不是个基督徒，可是你天生有这个天赋。
God is the creator of all human beings,
神是创造我们每一个人的，
but he is only the father to those who know him as his children.
可是他只有对那个信主的人才是他们的天赋。
Sometimes people say, "Oh, we're all children of God."
我们听见有人说我们都是神的儿女，
That's not true.
这个讲法是不对的。
You must be born again to be a child of God.
你要做神的儿女，你必须重生。
But there are many people who were very important to mankind who were not Christians.
有很多人对我们人类有很大的贡献，可是他们不是基督徒。
Great leaders,
很伟大的领袖，
great artists,
很伟大的艺术家，
great politicians,
很伟大的政治家，
all kinds of people were important to humanity because God gave them a gift.
各种的人对人类有很大的贡献，因为神赐给他们这个天赋，
A gift of singing,
唱歌的天赋，
a gift of building,
建筑的天赋，
gift of painting.
画画的天赋。
These are abilities that any human being could possess.
这种的天赋呢，是任何人都可以拥有的。
But think about the spiritual gift.
可是你想一下，属灵的恩赐，
The spiritual gift can only come from God.
属灵的恩赐只是从神而来的。
The Holy Spirit gives a spiritual gift to us once we are saved.
我们得救以后，圣灵就把属灵的恩赐赐给我们。
So, people who are not born again do not possess a spiritual gift.
所以不信主的人，没有重生的人，他们没有属灵的恩赐。
Now, that's a very simple way of looking at it.
这个是很简单的解释。
But I can see how it becomes confusing.
那我也了解你们为什么会觉得有时是混乱。
If I have a gift of singing,
要是我有个很好的歌声，
I might also have the spiritual gift of worship leading.
我也可能有这个带领崇拜的恩赐。
This is a powerful combination of two different things.
这两个配合在一起是非常有能力的。
A natural gift of singing,
一个天赋的歌喉，
a spiritual gift of worship and leadership.
一个可以带领崇拜的那个属灵的恩赐。
But it gets even more confusing.
再讲下去呢，就更混乱。
What if I'm a salesman and I have a gift of helping people make decisions?
或者是我是一个售货的人，我很有那个帮助人家买东西做决定。
So I decide I'm going to sell things to people and they don't really need those things.
那我可以说服人家买东西，他们不需要的，我也可以说服他们去买。
But then I'm saved.
可是我是得救的啊，
So I say, I can talk to people easily.
那我就说我对什么人都可以跟他们讲话的。
I love Jesus.
我爱耶稣，
I want to be an evangelist.
那我要做一个传道人。
I'm a salesman now for God.
我已经为神做那个买卖，
And I'm giving to people what they really need.
我现在给他们的东西是他们需要的。
This communication ability is now used in a new way.
那我这个有这个向人家分享的这个恩赐呢，就用另外一个方式来来发展。
It doesn't change the ability,
这样子说法没有改变我的才能，
but it changes the direction and the focus of how I use that ability.
可是就把我的用的才能的方向就改变了。
Now, let's make it more confusing.
再讲下去，
What if I have the abilities of a salesman?
那或再讲就是说，我是有这个做一个向人家卖东西的那个能力。
And I make a lot of sales. I'm rich.
我就是做了向人家卖了很多东西给人家，很有钱。
I get saved.
我是得救的。
I take my knowledge of human beings and I might become a crisis counselor.
然后我对人类的认识，我就可以去辅导。
This is what the Bible calls the spiritual gift of wisdom.
这在圣经讲到，就是这个有这个分辨的那个智慧的恩赐。
On this spiritual gift test, you will find that there's about 35 different spiritual gifts that we talk about.
在那个属灵的考验里面，你会看到差不多有35项，
And there's a very short definition of each gift.
每一个属灵的恩赐有一个很短的一个定义，
And it helps to see all of the different spiritual gifts.
就让你可以分辨一下各类的不同的恩赐。
But it would be very difficult to make a list of all natural abilities.
可是呢，你要把那个天赋写出来就比较困难。
You're born with certain abilities.
你天生就有这个天赋。
My son Spencer was 5 years old and he attended one of our worship rehearsals at church.
我的儿子5岁的时候就跟着我来参加我们教会的一次的那个崇拜的练习。
He started singing, but he was born with this natural artistic ability.
他天生就有这种的艺术的才能。
So now he's in art school
他现在念这个在艺术学校念书，
and he's made many projects with spiritual themes in these projects.
他做了很多的功课，都是跟那个属灵的方面有关系的。
I think in his case, he has taken a natural ability that God has given him and he is using it to bring God glory, but probably not exercising a spiritual gift.
他可能是用他天生的那个天赋，然后就发展，可能就没有神给他的那个属灵的恩赐。
He has a desire to live a godly moral life, but that is not a spiritual gift.
他有这个心智，是在神面前过一个圣洁的生活，可是这个不是一个属灵的恩赐。
So I can see how it becomes a little confusing.
所以我很了解为什么你们有时候觉得是比较混乱。
The spiritual gifts are identified from Scripture.
属灵的恩赐在圣经里讲得很清楚。
The heart is identified by looking into your life history.
我们的心就是要看我们过去的历史，就是可以把我们的心看出来。
Your abilities are identified through looking at lists of certain abilities and asking yourself the question, can I really do these things?
你的才干就是从你做的事情，然后就看得出你到底是不是可以把这件事情做得很好。
We cluster the gift when you take class number 3. Natural abilities are clusters of abilities.
你要是上这个301课的时候，那个天赋就是你的才干全部都放在一起的。
Artistic abilities.
那个艺术的能力，
I can paint,
可以画画，
draw,
可以画图，
sculpture,
可以雕刻，
architecture,
可以那个建筑。
but they're all in a general category of art.
可是这都归纳在那个艺术里面，
Teaching gifts,
教导
expository preaching,
就是依据圣经的讲道，
counseling,
辅导
youth ministry,
年轻的事工，
children.
儿童的事工。
You see, these abilities come in clusters of abilities.
这种的天赋都是在那个，就是在全部的才干里面的包括在一起。
Planning abilities.
那个计划，
Budget.
那个你们那个预算，
Planning a calendar.
也就是把那个时间表，
Step-by-step events.
一步一步骤的那个计划。
Some of these things I'm good at, some of them I'm not. But I'm going to identify myself in clusters of ability.
有一些我是比较做得好，有一些做得不是很好，可是我就是把那个才干就是放在一起。
Athletic abilities.
我们那个运动的才能，
Running,
赛跑、
swimming,
游泳、
jumping,
跳远、
archery.
射箭，
There's all kinds of different athletics.
有各种不同的那个运动。
But you know what I know.
可是你也知道，
If someone is good at athletics, usually they're good at many different sports.
你知道，要是有一些人他是好运动啊，他很多项都是很能的。
There is no spiritual gift of sports.
那个属灵恩赐里面没有运动的那一项。
But what if you had a spiritual gift of evangelism?
那要是你有那个恩赐去传福音的恩赐呢？
You can already see what that would mean.
那你已经可以知道会怎么样。
What if you are a great athlete, but you have the spiritual gift of service?
那你要是一个很好的运动员，可是你有那个服侍的恩赐呢？
Can you see how that changes it?
你可不可以看见是怎么可以把你这个天赋可以改变呢？
You're a great athlete.
你这是很好的运动家，
You now have the spiritual gift of giving.
你是也很有那个付出的那个恩赐。
That was good. We discovered something together. Natural ability, problem-solving ability. Yeah. But can you see, even if that athlete did not want to talk about Jesus, but they were a Christian, they could still invest their money in godly things.
你有没有看见那个运动员？他虽然是不喜欢讲话的，可是他要是用他的能力，可以是奉献。
Does this make sense, everyone?
听懂了吗？
Okay. It helps to think about it. The best thing that you can possibly do is experience class number 3.
你最可以为你自己做的事，就是上这个301的课。
Now let me invite you to try something.
我希望你可以尝试一下。
If you go on the Saddleback website, you can find the time and the day that we will have our next class number 3.
你要去上这个 Saddleback 的网络，你会看到我们301的什么时候会开课，
It will be in English,
在用英文讲的，
but you're invited to come.
欢迎你们每一个参加。
You'll receive all of the materials and you can experience it for yourself.
你可以拿到这个材料，你自己可以试试看。
I am sure that the church would be very happy to host you in this event.
我相信我们教会非常的欢迎你。
Okay? I'm not in opposition to you,
我不是反对你，
but I'm upholding good stewardship.
可是我是要做一个好管家。
Do you see how conflicts happen?
你有没有看到冲突就是这样发生的？
Aha. Now, what about, let's go back into our college days.
那我们回顾我们念大学的时候，
And it's Christmas time and we need to make some extra money.
圣诞节了，我们要赚一些的外快。
So I go to the department store and I get a job.
那我就去那个百货公司去找一份工作。
They say, we have 2 positions that are open.
那他们就说我们有2个空缺，
You can work with people,
你可以一个是跟人一起合作，
or you can stay in the back room and you can be in the gift wrapping department.
或者是呢你可以在后面包礼物。
How many of you would choose to be with the people?
你们哪一个是喜欢在前面跟人一起的？
How many of you would choose to be in the gift wrap department?
有多少人是喜欢包礼物？
It's about 50-50.
一半一半。
Okay? Now, another story. It's Christmas morning,
是圣诞的早上，
and you get up and you see a big box under the Christmas
你
tree.
起床呢，看见那个圣诞树下面有个很大的礼物，
Inside of it is a new bike.
在里面是一个单车，
So you take the box and you rip it open.
你就把那个礼物就把它就拆，
You pour out all the pieces.
把那个纸弄开了，然后就把
They're
那个拿出来
everywhere.
就是那地上都是这个你的那单车的那个零件，
You say, oh, this will be easy.
那你就说这个很容易的，
I won't even need a screwdriver.
我什么都不需要，
I'll just go get a butter knife from the kitchen.
我在厨房拿一个小刀，
So you take all of the pieces and you start screwing them together.
那你就把各样的零件就开始把它们配合在一起，
It takes you 40 minutes
40分钟，
and you've built a bike.
然后那个单车就成型了。
You have 6 leftover pieces.
可是呢，剩下了有6个零件，
You don't really know where they go,
你不知道应该放在哪里的。
but the bike works pretty good.
可是那个单车是可以骑
You're so
的，
happy.
你就很高兴了。
I never looked at the instructions.
我都不需要看这个说明书，
I got it done in 40 minutes.
40分钟以内我就做好了，
And I only needed a butter knife.
我只需要一个小刀就行了，就
Yay!
非常的高兴。
That is the dominant personality.
这类的型呢，就是那个很强的那个个性的人。
Now, what about the careful personality?
这个很小心的人是不是怎么做呢？
It's Christmas morning.
圣诞节的早上，
You see a big box.
在树下有个很大的礼物，
Inside the box is a bike.
在礼物里面是一个单车，
So you get a pair of pliers from your toolbox.
就去你的工具拿你的工具，
And you take the big staples out of the end of the box.
然后就是那个把那个钉把它也在盒子里面把面
You
除下
open
来
it，carefully and you slide the bike out onto the floor.
很小心的把那个盒子拉出来，
It's all wrapped up in plastic.
真是用那个塑胶那个包着，
So you take your scissors and you clip the plastic.
然后你把那个剪刀把那个塑胶把它剪开，
You take the plastic off of the bike.
把那个塑胶袋拿开，
Oh, and you see all the nuts and bolts and different tools.
然后看见各样的零件在里面。
You say, I better count everything just to make sure everything's there.
那你说我要数一下，要看看一共有多少？
You outline all of your tools and you unfold the instructions.
然后你就把这说明书打开，
Step 1,
第一步这样做，
step 2,
第二步是这样子，
step 25,
25步是这样子，
step 80.
到了80步就是这样子。
It's 3.5 hours later.
3个半小时以后，
The bike is perfect.
那个车呢就是十全
No
十美，
leftover parts.
没有剩下一个零件，
So you pick up all the plastic
你就把所有的塑
because
胶，
you're going to recycle the plastic.
因为那个塑胶还是可以重用
You
的，
put it inside the box
放回这盒子里，
and you take it out to the trash.
然后就拿到那个垃圾里面。
Now, that is the careful personality.
那这类的人就是一个很小心的那类。
How many of you think that you are dominant in personality?
你们哪一个是属于第一类型的？
Okay? How many of you think that you are very careful in your personality?
你们是哪一个是很小心的？
Uh-huh. How many of you think that you are influencers?
你们哪一个是觉得你们是
Team
激励
builders.
人家的，是
Okay?
影响力
And
的？
how many of you think that you are steady people? You love people, but you love the rules.
哪一类是很平稳的？你们是喜欢人
Okay.
可是也喜欢那个过程。
Now, in this room today, the biggest number is in the careful category.
今天我们的里面大部分是那个小心型的，
Why?
为什么这样子？
It's personality.
就是你们的个性，
You love tradition.
你很喜欢传统，
You respect history.
你很尊重那个历史过去，
You're looking for right answers.
你们希望一个正确的答案。
You know, I spent the last break with one of our engineers here.
我刚才休息的时候跟一个工程师交通，
He asked the question, what's the difference between ability and spiritual gifts? I got to figure this out.
他问我那个天赋跟那个属灵恩赐有什么不一样？我想知道。
I said, sometimes they can look the same.
我告诉他说，有时候他们看起来好像是一样的。
Oh, no, an engineer cannot live with that truth.
你知道吗？这个答案是工程师不
No,
能
no,
够接
that's
受的。
impossible.
他说不可能的。
Are you trying to drive me crazy?
啊，你这样子讲，我就发疯的。
Other people, the dominant personality, it doesn't bother you at all.
那个很强的个性的人，他就是没有问题这种答案。
Now, what is the best personality for ministry?
在那个侍奉里面，哪一类型是最适合的？
Your personality.
就是你的个性。
God did not make a mistake.
神是不会做错的。
He made you perfectly.
他就是给你做的是一个杰作。
So what's the problem?
那问题做在哪里？
We expect everyone else to be like us.
因为我们就是希望人家像我们一模一样。
And that way, we drive each other crazy.
我们要是这样子想的话，我们就是会做出很多的麻烦。
Now, you can tell the different personality types actually quite easily if you use those 4 squares.
其实你要是把我刚才告诉你们的，你就很容易分类你的认识的人他们的个性。
But let me tell you something to listen for.
可是我要告诉你一件事，
The dominant personality speaks a lot from their head.
这种很强的这种个性的人，他们通常是从他们的脑子里会讲很多，出很多的主意。
They say, I know.
他们个人很强，他说我知道，
I've thought about this.
我已经想过了，
I believe.
我相信，
I have it figured out.
我已经想通了，
I know the answer.
我有这个答案。
They speak language that speaks a lot of intellect.
他们讲的都是对他们的思想的方面的。
The influencer.
这个有影响力的呢，
They speak from their heart.
他们是从心里说话。
I wish we could do this.
我希望我们可以做，
I hope.
我盼望，
I have a dream.
我有一个梦想，
Let's stick together.
我们要连在一起，
Let's inspire one another.
我们彼此的激励。
Can you hear the difference in those words?
你有没有听得出那话的分别？
What about the steady personality?
那个很平稳的那一类型是怎样？
The steady personality will illustrate everything with a story.
那个很平稳的，他们讲什么话都会讲，好像一个故事。
They are very good storytellers and they use a lot of words
他们很喜欢讲故事，而且有很多的话，
because they want to balance all of the rules with their relationships.
因为他们要把人际关系跟那个做事的方法要平衡。
So they say, let me tell you a story.
他会说：“让我告诉你这个故事，
Let's think about this.
让我们想一下。
Let me write this down for you and I'll create an illustration.
我把它写下来，然后给你举一个例子。
They love to use lots of quotes.
他们很喜欢，就说说人家说什么，
You know, I was reading the other day. Let me tell you what someone else said.
他会告诉你，我昨天看那本书，我告诉你我看到的是什么。
These illustrations and stories all have the purpose of drawing us closer even when we have to talk about the rules and the law.
这种故事的，他讲这个故事的目的呢，就是要把你拉拢。
Okay? What about the letter C?
那个 letter C 是什么？
The careful personality actually wants one thing.
这个很小心翼翼的那种人呢，他们只需要意见的东西。
I want the bottom line.
我到底是怎么样？
Tell me what to do.
告诉我应该怎么做？
So what?
那到底是怎么样嘛？
What are the facts?
那个到底是那个事实是什么？
What's the answer?
那个答案是什么？
What's the foundation to all of this?
那个事情的基础到底是什么？
I just want to get to the bottom of all of this.
我只需要知道事情的真相是什么。
When you listen for these things, you can identify temperament.
你要是听到他们的 用的字，你就可以知道他们的倾向的个性是怎么样。
Now, I've explained to you a very simple model that can make your life very happy.
我给你的那个例子呢，是可以帮助你，对你很大的帮助的。
Because if you are dealing with a dominant leader, you don't want to give him a long story with a lot of facts.
要是你的领袖是一个很强的人的话，你不要给他很多啰嗦的繁碎的事资料。
One of my bosses here is very dominant.
我的其中一个老板他是很强的。
When I send an email, I only send bullet points.
我给他做那个电子邮件的时候，我只是讲到每一点很简单的。
He won't read anything else.
太长的话他不会看。
I've tried to give the details, but it becomes clear over time they've never even read my letter.
我要是给他太多的资料的话，他根本就不会看。
Do you have the same boss?
你有没有像这种的老板呢？
Sometimes we all know the same people.
有时候我们会碰到这种人呢。
But now other people are looking for understanding.
哎呦，可是另外一类的人呢，他们是很喜欢彼此的了解。
When I email with them, I send them an entirely different email.
我要是跟他们做电子邮件呢，我的内容就很不一样。
If I don't tell them or give them a personal greeting, they get worried because they think I don't love them anymore.
要是我一开头不向他们打招呼呢，他们就以为我不喜欢他们。
What if I am writing an email to someone with a careful personality?
要是我跟一个很小心的一个人做那个电子邮件的时候，
I better be very clear.
我应该是很清楚的。
I give lots of evidence.
我也给他很多的证据。
I give the bottom line.
我告诉他最低起码的是什么。
I show the positive and negative.
我告诉他那个负面的还有正面的。
And then I make one decision.
然后就给他们一个决定。
And this helps me in my communication.
那真的对我来说，这样子向他们沟通呢是非常有帮助。
If you recognize these personality types, and if you're in the middle of an argument,
你要是看清楚每一个人的个性的话，你在那个讨论的当中的时候，
now you can stop the argument.
你就会很容易的停止他们的好像的讨论。
Now, my personality type is influence or inspirational. This is who I am.
我个人呢是属于这种影响力的、激励人的那类。
The elders of my church were very careful.
那我那个教会的他们的执事呢是很小心的。
The church was 80 years old when I went to my church, and they had 80 people.
我去他们去那个做他们牧师的时候，那个意思80年的历史，只有80个会友。
You can see that they were very careful.
你看得出他们是非常小心的。
But sometimes when decisions become so slow and you make so few decisions, it's hard to move ahead.
你知道有时候你太小心的话，你就不能做决定，就很难有进步。
So I would try to make a change.
那我就是想改一些的东西。
Oh, wait.
他们就说等一下，
Slow
等一下，
down, Pastor Dave.
不要那么快
This is a marathon, not a road race.
这个是长途彩炮，不是一个冲劲。
I'm going crazy
他们快要把我弄疯了，
because I have a dream.
因为我有一个梦想。
So, this is what I did.
那我结果就这样子做。
I said, listen, I have to make some decisions,
我告诉他们说，我必须做一些的决定，
but I respect you very much.
可是我很尊重你们。
I will never say anything publicly before I've talked to you about it.
还有没有向会众讲什么话之前呢，我一定会跟你们先讨论。
And I will talk to you 30 days before I make any decision public.
没有做决定以前呢，我会30天会跟你们说话。
So, if I give you an idea and we need to talk about it, we have 30 days to talk about it.
我要是有什么的意见的话，我们有30天的时间可以讨论。
But if you don't talk to me, I'll simply go forward in 30 days.
那你要是在30天以内你不给我说啊，给我讨论呢，我就会单独做这个决定。
I learned to lead gently and quietly.
我就学习很温柔的、很安静的去引导他们。
In this way, I showed a lot of respect for tradition, but I also initiated many changes over time.
我就是很尊重他们的传统，可是同时呢，我也可以做了很多的改变。
By doing things this way, it took me 8 years to change my church.
我按照我的做法，8年以内就把我的教会就是改变。
At the end of 8 years, I had all 4 classes.
8年以后呢，我那个课呢，就是4个课程我都可以开课。
Most churches could do it in 2 or 3 years.
有一些教会呢，1、2年就可以开这4个课。
The older the church is, and the more tradition that you have, the more difficult it is to change.
教会越老，传统越久，就会改变那个教会是比较难。
If you're a young church filled with new people, a new church, you can make changes very quickly.
年轻的教会比较没有那么年轻，比较年轻的，你就是可以比较容易改变。
An older church is like an oil tanker on the ocean.
一个老的教会好像一个游轮呢。
If an oil tanker is going to turn around and go back to the shore, it takes 18 miles to make a U-turn.
那个游轮要是转头的话呢，要18里才可以转回。
Most churches are like an oil tanker.
大部分的教会都是好像这个游轮一样，
Go slow,
很进度很慢。
be gentle,
你要是很温柔，
and show respect.
要表示你很尊重他们。
The careful personality is very important.
这种很小心的这种的人呢是很重要的。
But the dominant personality is important too.
这个很强性格的人也是很重要的。
My associate pastor was a careful personality, and I was on the other end of that scale.
跟我一起服侍的牧师呢，他是很小心的，我跟他是相对的，
We learned to work together very well.
可是我们配合的非常的好。
Over time, he began to trust my instinct and ability to make fast decisions.
认识久了以后，他就是对我有时候做很快的决定很有信心。
But I never went faster than he was willing to go, and that eliminated a lot of mistakes that I might have made without him.
可是呢，他没有完全同意以前呢，我是从来不会做这个决定的。结果就是帮助我了，避免了很多错误的决定。
Here's the message.
我给你的信息是这样子：
We need each other.
我们很需要彼此需要，
No personality is right,
没有一个性格是对的，
but every personality is perfect.
可是每一个性格都是很完美的。
Because you are who you are, you will reach people for Jesus that I will never reach.
因为你是神这样子做你，所以呢，你是可以像某一些人，可以跟他们传福音，我是不能够做的。
But there are certain things that I can do that no one else can do.
有一些事情只有我能够做，没有人可以做。
But I need you.
可是我需要你，
I can't live without you.
我没有你，我不能生存；
I would never succeed without you.
没有你，我永远不会成功。
The Church of Jesus Christ would not be as beautiful without you.
耶稣的教会要是没有你，就不会那么美丽。
Now, I've also learned that my primary personality is influence.
那我也意识到我的主要的性格呢，我是影响人家的。
But under pressure, I become dominant.
可是，在压力以下呢，我会变得很强。
We are all the same.
我们都是一样的。
We have an ideal personality that we live in most of the time.
我们有一个很理想的个性，是我们通常是在这里面活动的。
But under pressure, we move into a different category.
可是我们受压力的时候，我们会向另外一个方向。
So most of the time, I was very good at building a team.
通常来说呢，我是要把一组的人建立起来，我是很有效。
But in a crisis, I don't listen to anybody.
可是，在那个危机以下呢，我什么人都不听。
I simply make decisions and tell people what to do.
我做了决定以后，我就是告诉人家应该怎么做。
In a general way, this could be very damaging if I behave that way all of the time.
要是我常常这样子做的话，我这样的做法是会很有损失。
But in my hometown, there was a great fire and 80,000 people were evacuated.
我住的地方有一次有大火，结果有8万的人就是要拆散。
It was a crisis.
这个是一个危机。
So I said, I'm not going to leave.
那我就说我不会离开的，
I didn't listen to anybody.
我没有听任何人说话，
I stayed
我就留在那里。
and I gave reports from the fire zone.
然后在火烧的地方，我就是告诉人家是到底
And
的
soon
情
people
况
were following me on the internet.
然后没有很久呢，他们就是在跟着我
And
看我说
Walmart
什
called
么。
me.
然后沃尔玛打电话给我，
They gave me $30,000 worth of relief supplies.
他们给我3万块的是去急救的那个货饼。
7-Eleven called me.
7-Eleven 也打电话给我。
I got trucks filled with gasoline to come up to the fire trucks and refill them.
他们就是把那个汽油上来，把我们的车去装油。
And here I was just barking orders everywhere.
我就在那边就是发命令，
But that didn't last.
可是不是很久，
It was for a short time.
只是很短的时间。
And then I relaxed and I went back to my preferred personality.
然后我就安静下来，就回复我我原本的那个的性格。
But beware of this,
所以你要小心，
because you can become very difficult very quickly.
你知道你也会突然之间呢，你会可以变得很难相处的。
Recognize this in yourself.
你要认识到这一点，
We need each other.
我们要彼此都需要。
We are incomplete without each other.
我们要是没有了对方，我们就不会完全。
Personality is a gift of God.
性格是神给我们的恩赐，
Let's apply it to ministry.
我们要用在神的事工上。
When people are given a ministry based on their shape, their personality is a very important factor.
要是我们的侍奉是按照我们的特质的话，那我们的个性也是非常的重要。
Some people make fast decisions.
有些人是做很快的决定，
Other people are very slow.
有一些人需要很长的时间，
Some people are funny.
有一些人是很有趣，
Some people are serious.
有一些人是很严重、很庄重，
Some people are quiet.
有一些人很安静，
Some people are loud.
有一些人讲话很大声。
You want to match the right ministry with the right personality.
你要把那个适合的施工跟那个适合的品格、个性配合在一起。
One of my friends from Africa needed people, ushers, to greet people at the front door.
我这个朋友从非洲来的，他需要一些人去招待，
Immediately, he got volunteers.
那他马上就有人自愿。
One of the volunteers was called the mother of the church.
有一个自愿的人，他是那个教会的一个母亲，
She was 98 years old.
他已经98岁。
And she said, Pastor, if you need my help, I'll do anything.
他说：“牧师，你要是需要我的话，我什么事都可以做。
She was very lovable, ”
他是很可爱的，
but she had a problem.
可是他有一个问题，
She had no teeth.
他没有牙齿。
So when she went to smile at the new people, they thought that she was crying.
所以他在向新的人笑的时候，人家以为他在哭
They。said, Pastor, you've got to help this poor lady.
那他们就对牧师说：“他说那个老人家，
She's standing in front of the church and she's crying.
他说你要去帮助他，他好像在哭呢。”
So you have to make sure the right personality goes with the right job.
所以你要很小心啊，要把那个个性跟这个施工要配合得很好。
My leaders were very strict.
我这个领袖他们是很严格的。
And I was in a meeting with my leaders, and they brought in the youth director.
那我在看他们开会的时候，他们就带了一个年轻的那个侍奉的传道人来。
They said, "What's wrong with you?
他说你有出了什么问题？
You joke all the time.
你常常都开玩笑。
You know, you locked us all out of the church last month.
上一次把我们都关在教会的门外，
You lost your keys.
丢了那个钥匙，
You're just crazy.
你好像是不是很正常？
Look at the way you dress.
你看你穿的衣服，
Your hair is orange.
你的头发是橘紫色的，
You never tuck in your shirt.
你的衬衫永远都没有在裤子里
You，have holes in your Levi's."
你的牛仔裤就有洞，
He says, "What's wrong with you?"
为什么你这样子？
And I said, "Wow, he sounds like a perfect youth director."
那我说他好像非常适合做那个年轻的牧师啊，
And he was perfect.
真的他是很适合，
The kids loved him.
那年轻人很喜欢他。
He had so many kids following after his example.
那个很多年轻人都跟着他做事。
But you know what I loved about him?
可是你知道我最欣赏他的是什么呢？
He loved Jesus.
他很爱耶稣。
And people that our elders would never reach was being reached by him.
我们的长老他们不能跟人家有关系的那些的人，他都可以跟他们有很好的关系。
It takes all kinds of people to reach all kinds of people.
我们需要各种不同型的人去跟不同类型的人接触，
It takes all kinds of leaders
要需要各类不同的领袖
to reach all kinds of people.
去跟不同型的人接触，
It takes all kinds of churches
也需要不同类型的教会
to reach all kinds of people.
去向不同的人他们去交往。
And God loves us all.
神爱我们每一个，
He made you perfectly.
他是说你是十全十美，
Don't ever wish that you were someone else.
你不要渴望你是像别人一样。
Just discover who you are and become more of who God made you to be.
发现你到底是怎么样的发展，神怎么是做你发展你的长处，
Spiritual gifts,
你那个属灵的恩赐，
heart,
你的心，
ability,
你的才干，你
personality.
的个性。
And in just a few moments, we'll talk about life experience.
跟下我们就要讲那个你生命的经历。
So, God bless you.
神祝福你，
Be who you are.
做神要你做的人，
Don't ever want to be anyone else.
不要羡慕别人，
Don't wish for someone else's life.
不要以为人家的，你要是你的生命像别人就会更好。
God has given you your life.
神把你的生命赐给你，
You are custom made.
你是特定做的，
You are a masterpiece.
你是神的杰作。
And God did a very good job when He made you.
神做你的时候做的不能够更完美了，
And then He broke the mold.
然后他就把你这个塑形弄坏掉，
There's no one else like you.
所以他不可能做重新的做第二个你。
And if you don't live your life as yourself, no one in history will ever take your place.
你要是不是凭着神按着你的样子来做的话，全人类的历史里不可能再有第一个可以像你一样。
This is your destiny.
这个是你的命运，
It's your gift from God.
是神赐给你的礼物。
So may God bless you.
神祝福你。